This is going to be the last new section of this unit. So we are on lesson 6, which I've called Algebraic Expressions in Integers. I don't believe this is in your book. This is something that I taught to my pre-algebra classes in the past, and so it's something I want us to start now because we're going to start getting into some more algebra type things. So this is something that you saw in the quiz, but again, remember that was not graded. It was just kind of that pre-test piece to see how you guys did without me telling you. So we are just going to go through these examples. So again, some of you did okay. It looked like you guys had some exposure maybe or could figure this out a little bit. We're going to look at how to do this, and the first thing I want you to remember is that we have to use PEMDAS, which is the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So as we go throughout this, remember that we always have to resort back to using PEMDAS. So they give us A is 5, B is -3, and C is -2. So as we do this, the first thing we have to do is substitute in for the variables. Now, a few things I want to talk about. If there's no sign between them, so if it just says AB, that means it's multiplication. So you won't always see a multiplication sign in between it. If there's nothing there, that means it's multiplication. So this means really we're going to have 5 times, and then B is -3. So we're going to have 5 times -3 plus, and then C is a -2. And I usually put parentheses around things as I substitute them in just to keep everything separate. You don't have to do that, but you can. And then PEMDAS. So again, multiplication happens first. 5 times -3 is a -15. We have -15 plus a -2. We go back to our addition rules, which says if the signs are the same, we add and keep the sign. So then that would be a -17. So again, following this order of operations, writing every step down, because if you skip steps, that's where the mistakes are going to happen. Part B, we have A plus B plus C. So again, the first thing we want to do is substitute in. So we have 5 plus a -3 plus a -2. So I've kept parentheses around those negatives to separate it from the plus signs. We are adding. Now, addition and subtraction, those happen left to right. So I'm first going to start with 5 plus a -3. Signs are different, so we subtract and keep the sign of the higher number. So 5 plus a -3 gives me +2 plus a -2, and those are just going to cancel out and give me 0. And 0 is an integer. You're allowed to have that as an answer. So if you get 0, that doesn't mean there's no answer. That means the answer is 0. And the last one, you may see it sometimes where they're going to repeat variables. So we have C is -2 minus, and then we have B plus A, so we have -3 plus 5, and then times -2. So you want to be very careful, because now we have a lot of negative signs in here. So you want to be very, very careful with your negative signs and your minus signs and keeping everything straight. So that's why I'm using parentheses where they have them, substituting with parentheses and so forth. So order of operations tells us to do parentheses first. So we're going to do -3 plus 5 first. Everything else is just going to get recopied. Now remember, we want to do the order of operations, which means multiplication and division comes next, which is here. You do not want to do this piece first. You want to do the 2 times -2. So we're going to have a -2 minus. These things stay the same. They just come straight down. 2 times -2 gives me a -4. Now the double negative means that we're going to add. So that's actually going to be -2 plus 4, which will give us a +2. So I hope that's not too far down on your screen. You can still see what I did. So again, following each order of operation as you go throughout. Pause the video if you need more time, but I am going to move over here. I have some additional examples. Let me zoom out just a little bit to get you those values. Alright, so I'd like you to take a few minutes, try these ones on your own. and then I'll put the answers up there and you can check your work versus mine to see how you did. So x is -6, y is -3, and z is 5. So just in case you can't see those very clearly, there are negatives with the x's and the y's, and the z is positive. Alright, I'm going to go through and plug these in. You keep working if you need to, but I want to go ahead and go through these so you can check your work. So we get x is -6, so I'm going to plug that in, minus y is a -3, minus z is a positive 5. So as I plug those in, the -6 minus the -3, there's two different signs here. That doesn't replace the minus sign, it's minus a negative. So moving from left to right, 6 minus a -3, the double negative turns to plus, so it's going to give us a -3 minus 5, which is -8. Now here we have the absolute value around it. So what that means is we're going to have to multiply inside and then take the absolute value. So we have the absolute value of -6 times a -3 minus 5. So -6 times -3 is going to be positive 18 minus 5. The absolute value of 18 is 18, so then we have 18 minus 5, which is 13. Again, no symbol between it means multiplication, so we're going to have -6 times 5 plus a -3, so that's -30, plus a -3, it's going to give us a -33. And this last one is the division. So when I plug those in, we're going to have -6 times -3 times 5, all divided by 10. Again, that fraction bar means division. So what we're going to do here is, when you have it written like this, you do the top of it first. You want to get one number on top and one number on the bottom, and then do the division. So -6 times -3 is going to be 18 times 5 divided by 10. So 18 times 5 is going to give us 90. Divided by 10 is going to give us a final answer of 9. So again, nothing necessarily new here. We're just using variables now to represent some of that information and to practice substituting in first and then following the order of operations. So they are getting a little more complex. We're throwing in some more numbers, some more negatives, some more operations. But this is all to get you ready for when we start next unit solving equations using variables in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So if you have any questions, mark those down, bring those to class tomorrow. We will go over this again and we will do some practice tomorrow in class.